Okay, let's talk leaks, shall we? So, The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender, has some leaks. Some of them are quite obvious that even a person who is just merely paying attention to the time period of a franchise will understand. For example, it taking place in Republic City. Considering this is Republic City, the place that Aang founded and spent a lot of his life on Air Temple Island, and the fact that the city has a Statue of Liberty type monument to Aang, yeah, this makes sense. However, there are a few things that are new from this leak. For starters, we're getting an area based off of Machu Picchu, which, okay, Avatar taking inspiration from real life places and just implementing it into their world, fine. However, there's something about this leak that has some heads turning, including mine. For starters, we're going to have a villain who is an airbender. Yep, akin to Zahir. Okay, I think I already have my thoughts on Zahir and the whole New Air Nation bit. I think I've iterated them enough. I find them to, in general, be highly underdeveloped as characters and a concept, especially when it comes to thematic points such as change. But giving us a new Airbender who is going to be the main antagonist of Avatar's big comeback movie, I am going to have a few words about that. First off, I am hoping that this airbender antagonist happens to be a waterbender who is really adept at bending mist so that it appears that it's airbending, which makes perfect sense because separation of the elements is an illusion and water can take on all states of matter. So it means that just having waterbenders firing very subtle amounts of mist very quickly appears like airbending? Perfectly fine. I mean, this isn't the first time this series tried red herrings or anything like that. Not to mention, Katara did bend mist in The Painted Lady, which allowed her to appear like she was bending air, although she did have help from Aang, and of course, cloud bending exists. But also, it is so strange that they're going with an airbender for the whole Aang the Last Airbender movie. I know it's going to be a red herring or a spirit beast or some kind of mixture of both, but I feel like that this is sort of trying to do the gimmicky superpowered thing while not understanding the thematic implications behind it, because I do like the concept of airbenders coming back and having to rebuild a culture, first with non-benders and then with airbenders. However, this is a series that has, not a series, a franchise that has squandered the whole thematic importance of airbenders and the possible story threads that they could have made. I know some fans speculate that they're trying to introduce the multiverse into this with the whole this production code was called Lost Realm, which ugh, I'm just hoping they don't try to do anything like that. The leaks so far come off as we really ran out of ideas of what we needed to do because we can't rock the boat too much because, of course, the Legend of Korra is right there. That's the problem with the Legend of Korra when it comes to lore and actually what makes me a bit nervous about its sequel series. Seven Havens. I feel like we wrote ourselves into a corner and it's very hard to write around it because The Legend of Korra introduced some lore that I'm not a fan of, and that lore is going to be the lore that dictates not only Aang's future movies but also the franchise going forward. And you can't just simply retcon it because it makes everything suddenly fair game for retcons, which is not good for anyone. But those are just my thoughts. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.